Hey y'all, Dr. J here. I've got Masters of the Universe He-Man from the Masterverse line. I'm not sure what that means. I think it's from that horrible He-Man cartoon. I mean the other horrible He-Man cartoon. The other, you know what? The most recent horrible He-Man cartoon? Maybe it's from that. I'm not even sure. I don't follow along that much. But one of my sons, Hot Rod Z, he bought this for me a while back because he knows that, it's from my era and I do enjoy He-Man in general. I never unboxed it because, for one thing, I like the packaging. For another thing, I don't display anything but G.I. Joe currently. All my Marvel, Spawn, and what little Transformers I have, they're boxed up at the moment. Don't have the room. But I found this cat at Ollie's the other day for 15 bucks, and I thought, hey, why not? So I picked it up, and I wanted to unbox them and compare them. I don't know that they're going to match up. He-Man's wearing more of a fur loincloth than the old fur Speedo from the OG line. So I don't know that it's going to work. That reflection is putting an Autobot symbol on the thing. I don't know that it's going to match up with the saddle when he goes to mount this cougar. But we're going to find out. Top right on the packaging, there's a 20. It's new for 20. I don't know what that means. Top left on the packaging here is 30 points of articulation, and then there's a 40 on the window. I don't know what these things mean, but if you add them together, it's exactly 100, which is the percentage that I'm excited to get into these. So come on, let's do it. Masterverse He-Man is coming out of his cage, and he's been doing just fine. My first impressions is he's got kind of long legs, which works just fine. It grounds him a little bit. It's like he's got like a Randy Orton chassis with the long legs, but then he's got a massive amount of meat on it too. I like the basic colors, how he just stepped off the pages of the old mini comics that came with the OG figures. I love his face. He doesn't just fall into the blue-eyed, blonde-haired, block-jawed Aryan hero that a lot of us were fed as kids, like Captain America or Duke from G.I. Joe. Not that I'm bashing those guys, I love them too. But he's from another dimension, so his facial structure, it looks like it pulls from a lot of areas, man, and I dig it. I even like the black eyes on this figure. Just a different look, and yet still classic. Articulation is some of the best I've ever seen, honestly. Not only is it solid, despite the amount of points of articulation, but all of the joints are really heavy duty. It feels like you could throw him across a sandbox and run over him with your Tonka truck, and he would just come back for more. Check out this leg. This guy is Venom Prime on articulation. You could pose the hell out of him. I mean, how many pieces is this leg? 1, 2, 3, 4. 144 pieces to make up one leg. That's just amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. I love this thoracic torso articulation. A lot of times this type of articulation, especially on smaller figures, can go really wrong. Like they'll get stuck like that, or it'll just be misaligned, and you're sitting here playing Jenga trying to get his chest to line up so he doesn't look like he's got scoliosis. This figure, which was gifted to me and for which I'm grateful, I love this figure. I think it's a Masters of the Universe Classics, but I don't even know. This thoracic articulation is junk. I hate that. It looks stupid, and what is that adding to the posability? Either he's drunk, or he's really proud, or he's drunk and he's proud. It's junk. This is good articulation. I'm really loving this guy. I'm impressed right out of the box. The coloration, it looks like he just stepped off the pages of the mini comics that came with the OG figures. Pretty basic colors. Not much shadowing going on except on the Super Killer boots here and the cock curtain of a underwear piece. He's got his classic weapons. The battle axe, a personal favorite of mine. I use this in all my deadly encounters. Instead of just the ribbed for her pleasure handle, it's actually got what looks like a leather wrap. That's going to take a little paint, and I'm going to bring that into reality. He's got his classic shield, again with the comic book basicness. It's neat, it's clean, until you flip it over. And they just went stupid dumb on this, man, because it's got a leather wrapped handle, and then it's got the strap right here, thong, if you will, to go around the forearm. I love this. Super flexible, so you're not going to break it when you drink too much and try to make a YouTube video about posing your figures. Now, I had doubts at first about this going over that wrist gauntlet. But again, the hands are removable. He comes with a couple of extra hands. And also, that gauntlet is removable, which is super killer. Haven't seen that on a Masters figure before. Again, I'm not an expert on Masters figure because I'm a working man, not a rich guy. He comes with a fist, which is classic to the absolutely abysmal cartoon montage. And he comes with a knife hand. So he could lecture you, or he could do a Ric Flair chop across your chest and turn you into marinara sauce. This power sword wins. This is the best power sword I have ever held. It's just the right size. The proportions, this doesn't, it's ornate. It's over the top. You don't need this, but the power sword has it. But in previous incarnations, it was like really huge, man. It was impractical. And I like my fantasy practical. Again, with the leather wrap on the handle, kind of ribbed for her pleasure. The thinness of the blade is cool too, because it actually looks like, you know, a blade. This detail is raised for once. I love this power sword. It's got some warp to it, because duh. But a little hot water is going to cure that. And we put it in the classic sheath back there. And just looking at that, it just makes me wonder, you know, what happened to people? What happened to men? Are men okay? At one time, we could have dressed like this. But now it's all hoodies and neckties. This is a good figure. I'm impressed. I'm pleased. It is different, as I pointed out. It's got some points that I wasn't used to, wasn't ready for. But this is a great piece, man. Thank you so much to my son, Hot Rod Z, for buying this for me. He barely probably knows who He-Man is. He just knows that his old man likes sci-fi fantasy, and he knows his old man loves action figures, so he got this for him. And this is a great piece. I'm going to compare it to this Masters of the Universe Classics, I think, figure. This figure reminds me why I loved He-Man so much as a kid, but it also reminds me that I'm a middle-aged man who appreciates artistic characterizations on his action figures. You see the colors are toned down. There's more paint detail on the metal pieces here. He's got what I think are called tabby boots. The little toe detail there on his moccasins there. And this figure's it's a little more bulky. It's a little more OG He-Man style. The face is just blatantly He-Man, but it looks serious. He looks like he is about to berserker mode your whole squad into the Shadow Realm. I dig this figure a lot. They're similar, but they're different. Some people like strawberries, some people like vanilla, whatever. Do you like beer out of the can or beer out of the bottle? You know what? I like beer. So, here you go. That articulation is junk, but other than that, I dig that figure. That is really nice. This guy is new on the scene. Here he is. Now I'm looking at proportions and I'm looking at scale. I don't know what scale Masters of the Universe is. I work so much in 1/18th scale, that's pretty much all I care about. But when it comes to these guys, you don't. I have never seen a 1/18th scale figure that will deliver the musculature, the over the top Olympian build that Masters of the Universe presented. So you got to go with a different scale. If I had rock star money, or better yet, American politician money, after I got done with all the shrooms and all the bodacious goth girl orgies and all the muscle cars and saving all the dogs in the world and getting them to happy homes, I would consider customizing some Masters of the Universe figures. This figure would get this torso. I think that would just be a wonderful blend, man. I think that would just pop and be a archetypal Ultimate He-Man. Speaking on scale, how big is He-Man? Well, I consulted the almighty Google. I got sizes from 6'2" to 6'11". He-Man needs to be Conan to Conan. He needs to be Conan's Conan. He needs to be Conan on top of Conan. Not like that. Calm down. So I would go with the 6'11" size. If everybody in the Masters of the Universe mythos looks like Hercules, then He-Man needs to outdo them. We love an underdog story. We all do. But it's also cool when a behemoth comes on the scene and just lays a smackdown on already impressive bad guys. Let's go 6'11". The average height for a man on this planet is 5'9". 6'11" is 17% bigger than 5'9". We're going to bring that up later. If you look at the greatest, most destructive fighting force the world has ever known, the U.S. Marine Corps, their website tells me that their average serviceman's height if you look at the most destructive fighting force the world has ever known, the United States Marine Corps, their website tells me that their average serviceman height, God damn it. If you look at the most destructive fighting force the world has ever known, the United States Marine Corps, their website tells me that their average serviceman weight is 169 pounds. So let's say those guys are average male height, average male weight. That makes them 5'9", 169 pounds. Fun fact, one of my sons who is a Marine just got up to 170 pounds. Now I say he just got up to 170 pounds because he's 5'3". The young man is a tank. He's on deployment right now. Semper Fi, and shout out to my kid. If He-Man is 6'11" and built like this, how much does he need to weigh? I'm going to look at some funny numbers here, and I don't like numbers. But I'm going to look at some funny numbers here because height and weight ratios can really be tricky. For example, multi-time Mr. Olympia Ronnie Coleman is 5'11". Competition weight, 300 pounds. I don't know how tall you people are listening to this. I'm about 4'3". I weigh 186 pounds, and I'm built like crap. But if you're 5'11" and you're 300 pounds of absolute muscle verging on dehydration at any second, you are a meat truck. But 5'11" is not 6'11". To get into that realm, we're going to have to go with Hafthor Bjornsson. That's the actor and former bodybuilder that played the Mountain on Game of Thrones. He scales in at 450 pounds competition weight at 6'9". Now, if you want to fact check me, yes, he has slimmed down since he got into acting, and now he's actually into boxing, I think. Maybe it's mixed martial arts, but I think it's boxing. Now, at 450 pounds, I really don't care how tall you are. You can't move in a competitive sport at 450 pounds. So back to He-Man. If Hafthor Bjornsson is 6'9", 450 pounds, we take He-Man up to 6'11", let's just say 500 pounds. Again, he's going to be larger than life. Or life. So a 500-pound man at 6'11". That's a 17% in. Oh, fuck. So a 500-pound man heading into battle with enough strength to one-punch Thanos. How does he get there? Now, he could run in on those super sexy boots and impress everybody into submission, or he could ride a tiger. Here's my Battle Cat. Out of the box, man, this thing looks really cool. These are basic colors. Again, I don't know if it matches up with the Masterverse He-Man. For coloration, I would say yeah, because it's very basic. I don't know why he's wearing armor, because tigers come equipped with plot armor in real life. Let's talk about that for a second. I've learned some tiger facts. I'm going to share them with you. Come with me, if you will. The average tiger in the wild weighs about 386 pounds. Now, they're out there living their best life, hunting and living and mating and trying to avoid being hunted themselves. In captivity, a tiger can weigh up to 666 pounds, which is pretty metal. But they're being fed a premium of food. They have veterinary care, and they get to live without the ominous and never-ending stress of life in the wild. So that would be like Tiger Prime, 666 pounds. Their bodies come in, intake to exhaust, at 6.5 feet or so. They don't count the tail. Sometimes they do. It took me a lot of Google research to get around the tail, actually. That was kind of annoying. Animals have tails for reasons, or maybe they just find a way to use their tails for reasons. Whatever. I was looking for the body length, and it was really tricky. But yeah, 6.5 feet, snout to booty. How does that scale out right here with He-Man on the scene? Wow, almost perfectly. I know you can't see it for the angle of the camera, but he's right around He-Man's height. So this Battle Cat is about 7 feet long in comparison to Masterverse He-Man. That is a nice scale up. If you consider the 17%, that would take a cat to 7'2". So that's neat. That works out. Now, why a cat? I'm rolling back. I'm rolling back to Masters of the Universe, 1982, I think. I don't remember. I remember it was right on the tail of Conan the Barbarian, which is still my favorite movie of all time. And yes, I am taking into consideration The Crow, Point Break, Lethal Weapon, Endgame, Winter Soldier, and the first Iron Man movie. It's still my favorite movie of all time. It is a masterpiece. Arnold was not the perfect fit for the Robert E. Howard version of Conan, but holy smokes did it make for a great movie. There are a lot of callbacks and direct references in that movie that I'm still discovering today that call back to Robert E. Howard's original Conan stories, and it's just magnificent. Where was I? Mattel handed us a big barbarian figure. And I remember asking for it for Christmas or whatever. And I remember the look on my dad's face. He's thinking, so my son wants a half-naked boy doll riding a green cat. Where did I go wrong? Because it seems a little silly. Is it silly now? Hell no. This is a tiger, dude. Tigers, they're like most big cats. First of all, they roar. They also imitate the sounds of other animals, which is just spooky. If you don't believe me, then I want you to YouTube tigers mooing like cows to lure them in. I'm not playing. Now, they can run about 50 miles an hour, which gets them a speeding ticket in a school zone on any given day. They can't sustain it very long because they are so much muscle, so very little fat. That lands the tiger right in the Eternian landscape and right in that demographic because they are so buff. This figure represents that pretty well, I think. Even down low, where you don't see a lot of meat on the bones for most four-legged animals, this guy's still pretty stocky. It looks like a tiger, only bigger. I've seen fan art that depicted Battle Cat as a saber-tooth cat, a Smilodon, which is just a silly name. I like saber-tooth cat better. That's not that big of an improvement because they were around the size or just a little bit smaller than modern day tigers. So I think a tiger works just fine for now, but we're going to get to that. Let's take this helmet off. I love the eye detail on the helmet, but then when you pull it off, they kind of fell down immediately. It's just green with a black dot. If you're going to shine on a tiger action figure, shouldn't you shine on the eye of the tiger? Boom, 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 boom. Either way, neck articulation is awesome. I could not have dreamed up a better neck articulation for a four-legged action figure, man. That is so nice. I love it. It's still believable, still looks like a tiger, but he's looking all around. Even mouth articulation. It's like this, look. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Because that's about as complex as it gets for tigers. They will meal prep anything that isn't made of metal, and I don't even know if that's true. Does it work as a mount? Because the meat curtain here is rubberized, it does actually. He goes in there pretty well. He looks a little big on him. And like I said, I scaled out the size, the height of the He-Man versus the length of the Battle Cat body. It's around the right proportions. But if a guy comes in armed like He-Man, built like He-Man, commandeering the atmosphere like He-Man does, and he's riding a goddamn tiger, what you gonna do, giggle? You do what you want. You're still about to meet your ancestors. I really dig this, man. I don't know what this looseness is about. Mattel, I'm asking you directly. I want to know. Is that a football injury? Did he play for the Zombieland Tigers? Maybe. I want to pull off his armor. Like I said, he's got enough plot armor anyway. This guy's a living cheat code. And yeah, still looks like a tiger. But could a tiger carry, providing that you even tamed him and convinced him to do so, a 500-pound, 6'11" meat truck of a man into battle? I don't know. Like I said, they top out at 50 miles an hour. They have fast twitch muscle fibers, like all felines, which means they can flinch and decapitate you because they're swinging. Check out that paw detail. I was really impressed with that. But they're swinging what in the real world is about 5 3/4 inches wide paws. 17% upscale for this. That's almost 7.5 inches diameter paw. So you're basically getting clubbed in the face with Negan's bat repeatedly. Tigers go for the neck when they bite. So he comes in, pats you down like a suspiciously aggressive bouncer with Negan's bat, and then he bites your neck, severing your jugular, breaking your spine, so you're paralyzed and bleeding out. And then he does whatever he wants. You're not going to complain later. Believe that. Tigers are pretty much the apex on this planet. I mean, a polar bear and a grizzly bear are going to give them some trouble. If you tag team them, you know, like, I don't know, hyenas, a handful of lions. Yeah, you can take one down. Humans, of course, with our thumbs and our depression and our guns, yeah, we can kill them all day long. But knuckle to knuckle, a tiger wins, and that's it. A good competitor is a jaguar. Not because they're as big or because they are as powerful. They're a little bit meaner. A jaguar goes for the head. And they have enough bite pressure to actually crush the skull of just about anything. And then they go ahead and cheat code that too, because they run their canine teeth into the brain. Now, if you know much about anatomy, or you really pay attention to wildlife and game hunting, there's actually a lot between the skull and the brain. In the critical moment, there's a lot going on. You can fracture a skull without actually impacting the brain. The jaguar says, nah, I'm going in. And they crush the skull of that animal, or human. And then they proceed to climb a tree with it. Now, tigers climb trees, but jaguars climb the tree with their kill so that they can eat in lunch detention, which was always pretty peaceful to me in school. I loved it. So jaguar jumps on, let's say, a young giraffe, several hundred pounds, crushes his skull, pierces his brain, and then he proceeds to deadlift several hundred pounds with his mouth into a tree and dine in peace. That's kind of living the dream. I think I'm gonna give that to Battle Cat. I think I'm gonna give Battle Cat the jaguar kill and the tree climbing. Pretty much anything else is a step down for tigers. So I'm gonna step up by stepping down. I'm gonna go with the house cat. Please don't stop watching my video at this point. I don't like cats as house pets. We don't get along. If you're taking care of an animal, then I salute you, because humans are the worst. So if you do like cats and you enjoy having a cat as a pet, I'm not bashing on you. I just don't like them. However, cats come with cheat codes. There are stories of cats falling out of skyscrapers. There was a cat in New York, I think it was, that fell 32 stories out of an apartment. 2 days later, it was released from the veterinarian with bruising, a slightly lacerated lung, and a chipped tooth. 32 stories. Tom the cat just fell from orbit, and he walked it off. All right, I'm going to give that to Battle Cat. When cats reach terminal velocity, despite what we've been told about them always landing on their feet, when they reach terminal velocity, which is when you fall from such a height that you go as fast as you can possibly go with gravity a factor, they sprawl out and they land on their chest and their abdomen, which is all bone and muscle. Now, it don't feel good, I imagine. But by throwing their bodies out like that and turning themselves into parachutes, they lessen the blow and they relax every muscle. I don't know how to relax every muscle sitting here making this video and drinking beer, so I damn sure couldn't do it. falling out of the keep at King's Landing. So I'm going to give that to Battle Cat. We go back to the tiger with its feeled muscles, explosive power, the solidarity, the solitude, the kill drive, and the absolute I do not give a flying flip mentality. Add to that the 12-foot vertical leap. And yeah, I'm going to take silly off the description for riding this guy into battle. I think Battle Cat is just cool as can be. When I was a kid, I remember wanting him to be a dog. Because I was a kid. But, yeah, that doesn't really work. If you really look into nature, why are there big cats, but there aren't big dogs? There are a lot of answers to that question. I'm grateful for those answers because it gets me domesticated dogs. It got us domesticated cats too, I guess, but man, riding a tiger into battle, that's a pretty good rush. It'll make a fella feel pretty darn good. But you don't want to get the big head about it, even if you're He-Man. Because then you're just going to look outlandish. Anyway, that's what I got, man. That's my my little swerve into the Masters of the universe for a minute. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all take care. I'm back out.